Hi, my name is Pierre Duarte, and today my speech to persuade will be on the topic of that the legalized drinking age should be 18 years old. Although the majority of the countries around the world have set their MLDA at age 18, 16 years old is considered the youngest age of drinking in the world. At least 8 countries and 8 regions have set their MLDA to 16 years. Although the legalized drinking age is 21 in the United States, it should be dropped to 18 because we are considered adults and we should be treated like one and have the ability to do what other adults do. In most countries, the legalized drinking age is 18 or older. Topics that we're going to address today is other countries' rules when the legalized drinking age is 18, illegal acts of alcohol drinking underage, illegal underage drinking, sorry, and that we should be treated like adults as well as a counter argument. Other countries allow their teens to consume alcohol at a very young age. Teenagers are mature enough to buy and consume the substance. For some people, introducing minors to alcohol does interfere with their activities, as for example, as studying. If you're under 18, you should be given a permission slip or a document that your parents should be able to sign, especially if you're in a country where the legalized drinking age is 16. But if the U.S. is very against 18-year-olds drinking at such a young age, we should be given the opportunity of an alternative. For example, when we get emancipated, we should be able to have the ability to have certain access to certain substances. Honestly, the U.S. does overreact. On a closer observation, most countries have found a lesser issue with underage drinking and alcohol abuse compared to the U.S. U.S. has their legalized drinking age 21, and underage drinking and legalized or illegal crimes do rise because of that. It is common for parents and children to share a glass of wine during dinner, which is a very different from the American drinking culture, whereby parents are strict and straight about which age you should be allowed your first sip of alcohol. Underage drinking in the U.S. is an issue. Young kids at church, they drink wine. When the pastor blesses the wine and considers the blood of Christ, you drink wine. 50% of the U.S. allows for underage alcohol consumption if it's done for a religious purpose. In 29 states in the U.S., drinking is allowed at the age of 18 as long as it occurs on a private premise or is done with parental permission. So, out of the 50 states, 29 states already allow it legally. And college drinking is a widely normalized thing throughout the U.S. If you're in college and you're a freshman, incoming freshman, it is normalized for you to drink without repercussions. As a college student myself, I have witnessed my friends take a sip of alcohol, maybe 2 sips, maybe 3 sips, maybe I've seen them on the floor. It happens. You see it a lot at parties, especially if they're under 21. Most seniors in college at 4 years, they do buy alcohol for younger audiences. An estimated 70% of teens in the U.S., 78% of the teens in the U.S. have consumed alcohol. If you let that sink in, that's about 8 to 10 people between the ages of 13 and 20. They've had alcohol, a substance that is illegal for the age group. We're allowed to put ourselves in debt. At 18 years old, you're allowed to put yourself in debt. You're allowed to sign a 4-6 year contract to the military, but you can't take a sip of beer. At 18 years old, if you're in the infantry and if they allow it, you're allowed to go to Afghanistan and commit a war crime, but you can't drink a beer or take a sip of a beer. It's very, 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 very dumb. If you can join the military, you can have a beer. Fair, plain, simple. If you can sign a $100,000 student loan at 18 years old, you're allowed to have a beer. If you can get the death penalty at 18 years old, you're allowed to have a beer. If you can get sentenced to 25 to life in prison, you can have a freaking beer. It's very, very dumb. It's very double standard. It's honestly stupid. Um, we're old enough to vote, serve our jury duty, make a will, get married, buy cigarettes, live on our own, to own a property, go to war, have a job. We endowed with all these rights and freedoms available to adults in the country, except one thing, and it's drinking alcohol. You're also allowed to buy vape devices. You can vape at 18 years old in certain states, but in California, you're not yet, through 21. But in certain states, you're allowed to. And this contradiction of adulthood and freedom with the inability to drink puts young adults at a risk for alcohol poisoning at a young age or alcoholism. They are going to overdrink. Kids at young ages will overdrink and they will find themselves in a hospital, especially in high school. Although this is my opinion on the legal age should be 18, there are cons to why it is bad. The significant increase, it does vary. Kids do cut class in college after drinking. It jumps to 9%, almost to 12% missing class because of a hangover. 9-12% kids in college do miss class because of a hangover. 26 to 28% now in 2022. They do get lower grades, 5 to 7%, and have been in a fight after drinking, 12 to 17%. Alcohol abuse has become a major issue upon the youth in the world today. It is deliberately one of the most abused drugs by the youth around the globe. Many campus students are committing excessive drinking, and they're desperate for it. And the fact that it's restricted to 18 or to 21 years, it should be lowered. Lowering the drinking age has become a notorious topic for both the United States for many years now. Although many can be against the fact that the legal drinking age should be 18, it can bring many positive effects. It can bring many negative effects. Depends how you look on it. It can possibly help kids to not go in that path of alcoholism. They could step away from it and they could realize at a young age that it's not for them. If being 18 is considered adult, we should be able to do adult things and not have the fear of going to jail. Although the legalized drinking age is 21, it should be dropped to 18 since we are considered adults and we should be able to have the responsibilities that most adults do. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.